Ray in Maryland is the person who I believe pointed out to me that CJ and Paul Diano were snubbed in an email, I believe. He joins us now. Hey, Ray, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm guilty. I'm good, man. How are you holding up, Eddie?
I'm all right. Trying to stay out of the red.
And yes, that was me that emailed you, but I've got a couple more to add too, so I might not help you out here. But I did want to touch on your Piercy DiMartini interview before I go into the in memoriam thing. That was just some of the best live radio I've heard in a long time. To hear that unfold with you and with your audience, it was just amazing. And just to hear them talking for the first time, and you damn near had them making a set list and writing songs on the air. So I just wanted to congratulate you on not only getting that, but the way it came off, man. That was pretty awesome.
Well, thank you, man. In a perfect world, if I'm being honest, I would have loved to have been able to dig in more about past members and legalities and why this and that isn't happening. And why it's not rat and all of that, but I couldn't because I was asked not to because there are legalities still. So, it is what it is. So I had, that kind of part of it I would have loved to have personally learned a little bit more about, but I still think there's sensitivities there. I was just happy they were willing to do it. And, I think we got a lot of good stuff regardless. So.
Oh, yeah, it came off great, man. I'm going to read off, I'm going to the Grammys in memoriam thing now, and I do have a couple to add to the list that haven't come up. These are just a handful of people that they did acknowledge. Homie Quan, DJ Fat Man Scoop, actor Bob Newhart, who I didn't know was part of music's biggest night. Love Bob, but still. And DJ Clark Kent. Now, this is my list of 6 folks that were not mentioned. Of course, you've touched on John Sykes, Jack Russell, Paul Diano wasn't represented, C.J. Snare, Hall of Famer Wayne Kramer. Could he not get a mention?
Oh, wow.
He passed away last year. Yep. And certainly worthy. And no mention of James Kotak either.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I love James.
I know they're not going to know these people. I get that. They're not gonna know any of these people.
Yes, and I loved James, and in a perfect world, but that's a prime example of where I wouldn't have gone crazy because, and that's no disrespect to James, but James was a contributor to some bands, obviously the drummer in Scorpions, but not the original drummer, and, is not on the classic recordings, whatever you want, Kingdom Come, whatever that is. I would have been able to give them a pass on James. And again, I don't say that out of disrespect. I love James, but I could see that one. That would be one is like, well, I can understand them not knowing that or knowing who he was. But the others are
the Hall of Famer Wayne Kramer.
Inexcusable. Yeah, I mean, look, that guy was this, punk icon and this, yeah, on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ballot like 6 times. That's beyond belief, actually. That's a good call. I did not know that. I didn't catch that one, Ray. Crazy.
Yep. And they included an actor, Bob Newhart. I loved Bob. But what does that have to do with music? Maybe he did an album back in the 60s that I'm unaware of. But anyway, Eddie, I just wanted to run down that for you. And great interviews last week, man. And I really loved, like I said, that was some great live radio with Steven and Warren. So thanks for everything you do, brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Maybe when Warren and Steven settle into this a little bit, when they start rehearsing, when they talk to each other again. I think that interview still might be the only time they've communicated in 7 years because I don't know if they've talked since, but when that gels a little bit, maybe we'll do another round with them and see. AJ's telling me that Bob Newhart actually did do albums back in the Bob Newhart, according to AJ, won a Grammy for his records back in the 60s. Won Grammys for the Button Down Mind Strikes Back comedy albums. Okay. But then again, comedy. Comedy is a viable category for the Grammys. Comedy was, comedy records at one time were a big deal. Now I know nobody buys comedy records anymore, but still, I mean, some do. I mean, there's some that you'll see pop up here and there. There's still a chart for it. I know it's not like it was back in the day when people would buy Richard Carlin or Richard Pryor or George Carlin records or what have you, but Cheech and Chong, whatever, but that was a viable category. So I don't have a problem with Bob Newhart being mentioned. I mean, he was universally loved actor and I guess did win Grammys for comedy, so I don't have a problem with that. The other stuff Ray mentioned, I don't know what that is, but I know it's not now 6 people that Ray has come up with.